सबसे अच्छा है वो रामायण होटल, सारे लोग वहीं रुकते हैं।
राइट, वो थोड़ा दूर है शायद, वो एकदम क्लोज
दूर
नहीं है
है,
मंदिर के।
दूर है।
हाँ वही वही।
और लेकिन कोई बड़े इस्टेब्लिश्ड वाले जो हैं वो उतना अच्छा नहीं कर रहे हैं, वो रामायण ही अच्छा कर रहा है। लेकिन उस दिन इतनी बारिश थी कि वो जो कहते हैं ना कि सीनियर सिटीजन्स के लिए गोल्फ कार्ट्स हैं जो टेम्पल तक ले जाते हैं, वो सब फेल हो गए उस दिन तो
राइट राइट।
हम्म,
तो पहले तो हाँ, तो मैम क्या तुम आई विल कंटिन्यू द एमसीपी
yes.
एंड मैम यू हैव एनीथिंग टू will you take some time or
Yeah, I would like to take some time. First, you go ahead and the chapter 10 has lot more details that's not in the book, and I'll just try to complement whatever is there.
okay, sure. So on last session that we almost covered, not almost, more than 50% of the MCP, the theory
Oh,
part we covered,
अच्छा.
and there was plan to cover two chapter 9 and 10, but I
Okay.
was running out of time. So we running, not me, we are running out of time. So
Mm-hmm.
we could not do. So we thought, okay, let's continue in next weekend. Let's cover the MCP again because MCP is very useful and it is a big chapter actually. When in
Hmm.
previous discussion we get to know that it is a big one. Okay, we need to give some more time to it. So
Hmm.
that thought, okay, let's do one thing. Let's cover the one more day for the MCP. Okay,
Hmm.
so that was
तो
we discussed.
अब मोहन आप जो है स्टार्ट करेंगे तो क्या क्या आपने कवर किया वो एक बार फिर से समरी देंगे? आई थिंक मैं भी नहीं थी, मनोज भी नहीं थे, तो काफी लोग मिसिंग थे।
Yeah, sure. We can do it. No rush. Okay. So yeah, we can cover. I can start from there only again.
श्योर,
Okay.
श्योर।
So yeah, let me know my feedback as well immediately. That the way I present, I maybe do here and there. Okay. So let me share my screen and okay. So here the one. Yes.
तो मयंक अभी स्टार्ट करना है कि आर वी वेटिंग फॉर अ बिट?
I think we can start the recap.
ओके, ओके, नो वरीज।
Okay. Let me see. Okay. So this one we covered last time, but we can cover again. Okay. So this theoretical part. So the model context protocol. So this is a not a technology. It is just a design pattern, as the name suggests. It is a protocol. So to enable, so what this protocol does it like? What it contains. I mean to say that theory wise that to enable LLM to function effectively as agents, their capability. So this is the to enable LLMs to function effectively as agents, their capabilities must extend beyond multimodal generation. So what does it mean?
You are
Like,
not sharing, Mohan.
sorry.
You are not sharing your screen.
Oh, really? Oh, sorry, I was not sharing my screen. Good that you mentioned. Okay, let me see the entire screen. So let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, you can see my screen.
Yep.
Everybody, let me enlarge it. If I am enlarging it, I am getting in the two pages. Okay. Okay. So chapter 10, model context protocol is the name of the chapter. So just to, so these couple some concepts are there in this chapter. Those are more important. We just need to understand, then see the implementation around it. Okay, that is how we will go. Okay. So the line says to enable LLM to function effectively as agents, their capabilities must extend beyond multi-model generation. So that the meaning of that line I understood, like, that LLM, that all the stories start from the LLM. We can say it is a root or seed, whatever maybe. that have the brain like a human being, and to function effectively as agents. So currently, not the currently, the first way, like you have the LLM, and after that, to use the LLM, you make the agents, right? So different, whatever the frameworks are there, the LangChain, LangGraph, whatever the frameworks are there, by that you build the agent. So they just nothing but a wrapper around the LLMs. You know, LLM, they provide the API. So you made your framework, like you can call the LLM API, and then you write different tool and you provide some external data to it, and you ask it to do certain activity, that become the agent. But to make more sophisticated, so when you have, suppose your agent is going bigger and bigger, like not only it is serving a one team or project, one, if you need to survey organization, right, then it will start become enlarged, became more and more. That's where the MCP will come into the picture. So that's why I say, to function it effectively, it means make it more robust. Their capability must extend beyond multimodal. So LLM, they, just a text generation, other than text generation, can generate the image, voice conversion, a lot of things can do. Beyond multimodal generation, integration with the external environment. So that you need to integrate the LLM with the external environment is necessary, including access to the current data. So whatever the data you have, current data, just like LLM, on whichever the data it trained, it can answer that only. But if you want to be get it the current data, like something, it need to know what is the current news or current, what is going currently now, that you need to it access through from the current, from website or somewhere, but that will be the current data. So to access the current data, utilization of the external software, like if you LLM, again, you want that, not the give me the current news or current data, give me some access, some software as well, or software, because that is not a part of the LLM. Software will be the part of something outside, and execution of the specific operational task, and you want that to do something. Okay, so these are the three things, getting the data, utilizing the external software, or do some operation task, something you want it to be performed. The model context protocol address this need by providing standard interface for the LLM to external resources. Okay, so what the MCP will do? So you will design a, so now the MCP will come into the picture, nothing but like a another way of, you're wrapping it around the LLM. So means you will use, again, do the coding using some MCP approaches. That's where it can integrate to these other sources, that whatever we discussed previously. This protocol serving as a key mechanism to facilitate consistent and predictable integration. So means the LLM, you need to integrate with the outside to the software X. You want to do something, you want to integrate something, you want to get the data. The way you connect it, okay, how you will connect it, what approach you need to follow, that concept is MCP. Okay. So now coming to the MCP pattern overview. So what this, imagine a universal adapter. So MCP nothing was like, it is like a adapter. Okay. Adapter that allow any LLM to plug into any external system, database, or tool without the custom integration for each one. So it is just like a, as again saying, like, you can say it like a pattern. So it became like a pattern that we have the lot of the software development pattern. So this is one of the, one of the pattern that we used to have, adapter design pattern. So it is like a pattern that will help you to plug into any external database tools, or that will do the integration. Okay, this is essential what the model context protocol is. In an open standard designed to standardize how LLMs like, Gemini, ChatGPT, OpenAI, GPT model, Mixreal, and Claude communicate with the external application data sources tool. Think of this as a universal connection mechanism that simplify how LLM obtain the context, execute action, integrate with the various system. Okay, so other than like a simple agent that you having one LM and couple of the tool, if you use this pattern, you can have the multiple models on one side, and the multiple the resources tool system on the other side. Okay, so it will become enlarged with the help of, if you make to enlarge, you need to follow this pattern. Okay, or this pattern will help you to make your agentic application bigger. That will have the lot of software application actions or lot of things. Okay. Now coming to the next one, MCP operate as a client server architecture. So MCP will operate as a client server architecture. It define how different elements, data, different elements like data, resource, refer as action source, interactive template, which essentially prompt, and actionable functions like a tool are exposed by an MCP server. So this is very important line that we need to understand it. Okay, but the same it will be. So it will MCP, it will operate like a client server architecture. So means like you will have the LLM, you will wrap it around, it will become a MCP client. Then it will interact to a server. That server will give you access to your actions. Those will in tools or functions. It will give access to some application. It can give access to the application, the API, and lot of things it will give to the actions that will be served by a MCP servers. Okay, that is the concept of it. Are exposed by the MCP server. These are then consumed by the MCP client, which could be an LLM, host application, or agent itself. The standard approach programmatically reduce the complexity of the integration LLM into diverse operational environment. So what it will do, MCP server, there are the lot of the complexity or some other things come into the picture. The standardized approach dramatically reduce the complexity of the integration LLM into the diverse operational environment. So MCP server will simplify the complexity of the integration that you will integrate with to the external source API, external sources. Okay. And if we see the diagram of it, we can go, or this is the main concept. Again, the same concept, start repeating it. If you see any diagram, if we can take any diagram, like, okay, let's see. Okay, that's where it will tell it. Okay, so before MCP, any picture we can say, all of them say before MCP, you have the LLMs, you have a unique API call, everything you are integrating, you are calling from the LLM itself. Now after MCP, what did LLM, they kept it one side only, and they kept a layer model context protocol, so that all the other integration everything's you kept it aside at one layer, outside of that LLM. You just like you doing that loose coupling, or you decouple that part, okay, using the MCP. That's where you call API other thing, you just put from the, if you put the layer between them, that you just do the loose coupling. So you did loose coupling, so one side your LLM that will be wrapped become a MCP client. After that, it will interact to a MCP server. Okay, and that will handle other integration, that part will handle. If you follow the other, most of the links do similar things only, just like you're doing the loose coupling in other way. Okay, so now next chapter. However, there is a however MCP is a contract for the agentic interface. In other words, we can say, just like when it comes to when you decouple two things between them, it will become like a contract. So this concept is similar to like the concept we have the interface in the object oriented programming, right? You do the loose coupling and you will put an interface, so you don't call the direct class, you just call the interface methods, right? And interface come into the picture, that will help you do the loose coupling, like you don't care about the implementation, you care about the methods only. Okay, the same concept applies in like Swagger, we used to call open AI, open, not so open API, not like open AI API, open AI Swagger, where you design the API, but you give the Swagger documentation to the other people, they just consume it, so it became like contract. So it is similar, in other way it is similar to that only, but it is for the agent. Okay, it is effectiveness depends upon the heavily on the design of the underlying API it exposed. There is a risk that the developer simply wrapping up the pre-existing legacy API without modification, which can be suboptimal for the agent. So this is like a similar to when like a agent is can call the API directly only, but if you use the MCP server, so a lot of the heavyweight work or some kind of the labor work, or that should agent should not be the LLM should not be doing, that can be done through API or through programming itself, that the MCP server will handle it. What does it, for example, they are saying, just like it, you have the ticketing system that only ticketing full their ticketing API that will give you the full payload of a tickets. Okay, agent ask, suppose you ask as agent to summarize the high priority ticket that will be slow and the inaccurate at the high volume. Okay, this is truly effective. That underlying API should be improved with deterministic feature like filtering and sorting with the help of the non-deterministic agent work. So what does it mean? Okay, in the simplified word, just like API that is giving the complete list of the payload for the ticket payload. Okay, so if you give that, the LLM can do the fourth thing, like, give me the high priority ticket, it will take the complete payload, then it will do the sorting and all lot of things it will do. If the M, so this will be too much work for the agent, the LLM. But if you can do through the MCP server, like, it asks to summarize the ticket. So in, like, sorting or some kind of the programming can be done so that you will give the limited data, or the as possible as less data to the agent. The more less data it has, it can do that process fast. It will don't do the much work for it. That can be done through the MCP server, right? So that's what it is saying, like, it the MCP will help to address this problem, like, some kind of the too much of filtering, sorting, that it can be handled by the MCP. They give the another example here only, I will just cover. So same with the PDF, like, if you ask an agent, MCP client or the LLM, they summarize the PDF that whatever I give you. So PDF, they need to convert it to a text, and that text has to be summarized. So converting PDF to the text, that can be done through a programming. That is kind of a static task that can be done using a some programming itself, right? So that part MCP should handle it. Okay, that's what the meaning of, you can do it. That's the meaning of it, I mean to say, so that the MCP can handle it. Okay, now another concept, MCP and the tool calling. This one, and these are the main core concept of it, and then we quickly will jump to the use cases. Okay, so 15 minutes. So I will try to give it around 10 to 15 minutes, try to leave it, or let me cover this quickly. Okay, we will under MCP versus tool calling function. Okay, MCP tool calling are the MCP protocol and tool function calling are the distinct mechanism that enable LLM to interact with the external capability, including tools and execute actions. Both serve to extend LLM capability behind text generation. They differ in their approach and the level of abstraction. So what does it mean? Just like LLM can call uh, tool or MCP calling. Okay, two things are there. So earlier, the before MCP, like, you have the code like a LangChain land graph, the framework you can do. You can call the API, create the model, and you can call some function. You can do some activity. Okay, that is like a function you are calling. Okay, through the MCP, the LLM can directly call that function. Another way, like, it can call the same function, but it need to call through a MCP. So both external LLM capability behind text generation. What does it mean? Like, LLM can generate the text, but they both of them, it extend its capability of the LLM, but there's some different in the approach. So what does it mean? Tool calling function can be a direct LLM call, okay, with a specific predefined tool function. Just like, we are writing, directly you are calling that method. Note that in this call, you use the word tool and the function interchangeably. So when we call the tool and function, they both are the same. Okay, this intersection, only the difference, when you define a tool, that we know, like, you define a function, but you add a uh, decorator on top of it. I can give you an example of it just to here only. So let's say I have designed this MCP server. Okay, this code using design. So what it doing, like, this is a tool, this is a function. If you forget this line, it is just like nothing, a Python function only. Definition, function name, parameter, it will return this. You are adding something to it and you are returning some, this is the thing. The moment you add these two things to it, you add a doc string just to tell what this tool do exactly. Description, what argument it will take and what it will return. Became a it you just add it. And on top of that, if you add a tool decorator in other framework in the MCP, the firm whatever we if you use MCP server, then it will become a like MCP tool. It became a tool. Okay, so that's the thing, like, that's why there's function and tool. So if you add something, it became a tool, although that is the function only. This interaction corrects a one-to-one communication model where LLM formatted request based upon understanding a user intention require external action. This application could then execute and request a and return the result to the LLM. This of proprietary and vice, just like as we are saying, the direct call to it. In contrast to the LLM protocol, it operates on a standardized interface for LLM to discover communication with the utilizing external capability. Its function is an open protocol that facilitates the interaction with the wide range of the tool and the system, aiming to stabilize a ecosystem where any compliant tool can be accessed by an compliant LLM. Okay. So this foster interpretability. So not going to that line, let me this line, let me summarize this line, then we'll give you the example of it. Okay. In contrast, MCP protocol operate a standardized interface. So it will call the math that a tool, but it will call it through interface. Okay. For the LLM to discover, first to identify the tool, then communicate with it, and utilize the external capability or resources to it. So just like, it will not give the direct call. It will, through an interface it will go, then it need to discover it, then need to communicate with it. Okay. It function in an open protocol that facilitate interacts with the wide range of the tool system and aiming stabilize a ecosystem where compliant tool can access. So just like, you will not call directly, it will discover it, then call it. That's what the meaning of it. Okay. So just to stop here only, and to just somebody raising.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
So I am relating this to, in long back we have something called UDDI.
Mhm.
It's basically, I don't know if any of you remember that. So it's basically, let's say you are exposing some functionality, just
Mhm.
like here.
Mhm.
So you expose what is the input it is taking and what is the output it is taking. So it is registered in some of kind of, let's say somewhere it is being registered. Hey, this is one tool which you provide this and you will get this one. And that is what is MCP, I guess, here, where instead of me calling, let's say, an agent calling a tool or a function, it will count, it registers in a MCP server that, okay, hey, this is the PDF file, I will take the format and I will return this. This is the output I'll provide. And I directly call, I mean, the agent directly call to the MCP and get all those benefits rather than calling individual tools.
Right, exactly. So I support your line. It is similar to the concept. This concept, I say, it is nothing new. Okay,
Yeah,
similar kind of
but
concept.
I fail to understand why they give that, the protocol there. That protocol gives me that, as if it is in a different format. It will give you an unique format or something, an universal format. That is not the case, but maybe, yeah, protocol means it's an
Sir,
understanding between.
sir, for the protocol, what I understand, MCP is created for the interoperability, right? So they say like the madam has shared that one that Google document, right? It says it is for the
Mhm.
interoperability. So there should be one protocol that's all the LLM should understand, right?
Right,
So
right,
that's why.
correct. Correct,
So
correct.
so the message format, everything should be the same. So for that, that's
So
they call
you are
this protocol.
saying, so let's say I am saying, I will communicate with HTTP, or I will communicate with JSON, or I will communicate with RCP or something like that is the standard format. It is following one of them or something like
So it is
that.
following two
Yes,
standards.
yes,
Yeah, it is a
yeah.
for messaging format. It has only one JSON RPC. That's what it says. And for the like communication, it follows two type of process communication, like inter process communication, which they call STDIO, and then it is like a HTTP streaming type of communication. So maybe when the madam goes through that white paper, I think it's explained very well that one.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So good. Thank you. Good discussion. So now, so if I do one thing, I will try to do like this theory part, and then we can cover. But let me, the way is telling. Let's understand some examples. So let's have the more connection to this concept. Okay.
Just one more thing I want to clarify here. So these MCPs are not personal, because I'm talking now from my experience, because nowadays every company have one their MCPs, so that instead of you calling because when you are writing AI agent, so basically you will call the tool or function, whatever it is writing, right? Let's say you want to connect to Wikipedia, or you want to connect to, let's say, internal database or something, you write on a tool and it will connect, and then agent will get data that as a context and will give the response. Whereas companies basis, they are writing MCP, so you don't need to individually call this.
Right, right, correct only. So in other word, we just understand more around it, like just like I am writing one agentic application, so I may be writing one common method, nothing common method. I'm writing just call the DB or do something. Okay, in my teammate may be doing the same, right? Or in another team may be doing the same. Another
Yeah.
project, the same project, So just to, how they say, yes, within company the people may be doing some same, right?
Right.
Okay. So what they did, okay, instead of doing just reuse it, right? Make your own, like where the common things, common tool or common things will be available at one places, you will call that
Yeah.
directly. Okay, so that you can reuse it. That's what that can be reused. Okay, that's the another way of we can understand it. Okay, so just to stop here, this concept, let's see some example of it. I will come back here again where I was, tool calling, function calling. Okay, so standard base pro check we can do, we will additional considering tools resource. Okay, this concept we can do, but let understand the some implementation of it. Okay, little bit. Okay, so that we can have the more connection. That's what I want to learn the things. So I will come back here. Okay, as I was telling. So if I will go to the this code. Okay, and then before that I just went to the references. Okay, that what this is very small chapter, but let's see. uh, Coming to, let's see this diagram as well, then we again do. So what they say, user, you will prompt it and there will be MCP client. Okay, MCP client, nothing but inside there is AI, somebody wrap it, it will become a agent. Okay, that agent will call to the MCP server, the same diagram, and that MCP server have the capability to connect to a tool, it connect to API, it connect to a legacy service, it can connect to the database service, or it can connect some other wrapper or something. Okay, or they say you call the wrapper, inside that these many things are there, or another AI. Okay, and then it will get the response, and then MCP client will get the response, it will send the response back to the user. Okay, that is how it is. Now coming to that, so they given some references, so like through, because this is MCP is not a technology, is a concept, so the people implemented this concept using different way. So the Google ADK did some documentation, and fast somebody did this one. So before that, what I did, I just went to with the fast MCP. Okay, so this is the concept. Now the people, let's see how they have implemented. So one of that documentation that I got through, this is the fast MCP. This is one of the framework that people are developing the MCP server using it. Okay, so we will just do the installation, that what, so there is already predefined library that is using UV or pip install, you can get that library. And after that library, they say there are some that what, how you need to install that library. And then there is a simple piece of code, quick start. Okay, so what it doing, like you have the one you created a server, like you get fast MCP, you get that from this library, you get that fast MCP class, and that you are passing name of the service, then you added a tool to that server. So now, where earlier what we were doing, we were creating a API and then defining a tool. Now in the server itself I am defining a tool. That's where this my documentation explain it, right? You are creating a server, in that you are you define a one tool. Okay, so it's saying just like a greeting tool. Okay, you define a Python method, it will take the string, it will return something. On top of that, what you added a tool. Okay, and then you added that a tool, and then you will run that server. Okay, and that server will start somewhere. Okay, and then, so if I give you one example, that, let me see, I wrote a one MCP server. Okay, this server that I wrote it, I added something to it. So like I added these dependencies, they saying the other dependency, like the fast MCP dependency are there. The moment I will say, so this is the code of writing, it is a simple code, just like in the other program that you write it, you created that fast MCP, you define the different server to it. I written different tools code to it. So you give the server and you decide MCP dot run, and there one way, like I will call this HTTP, on this port I'm going to run this server. Okay, the moment I start it. Okay, let's see. So in the background, this server is getting started. Okay, this server is start, and it will start like a one uh, how the other server start, if you work in other language, Spring Boot server, or it is the Express server, or the fast API server, whatever me, but it became like a server. Okay, it's saying server is started on this port, this the URL is started. Okay, and now how we will consume that URL, so there is another code for it, like they using open API. There is some other way, like so they say, okay, if you need to consume that server, so let's go to this one, Google ADK. Okay, I was just writing it. Okay, I was facing some problem, I didn't see the output of it, one of them I ran it. So now your server is running. in that server. So this is the simple code. We know that you need to create the open API client object. That's what you do in any agentic application, right? This is the, you created that agent and you have one URL. So this is the way that it tell, okay, that you, let me see, this code is not complete, my bad. Let me see. Model. This code, actually the piece of code I was just trying to run it, but I can tell you which one is my client is having that. MTV created client, and then client you can call this one agent. Okay, you call the tool creator instruction MTV tool. This one is a Google client, you will edit. MCP open API, you will add it. Google it source over here. MCP client, you need it, you can call it. Okay, so this example actually I was writing it, but let me go to this. I will take the example from here. Okay, that server we started, but let's, okay, somebody raising it.
Yes, hi, Mohan. Can we skip this part because वो बहुत ज़्यादा detail हो जाता है.
Okay, then if you want to, yeah, let me finish it, then we'll
Yeah.
skip that part. Okay,
Yes.
because I was just trying to run it if it is going there.
Okay.
So let's understand this piece of code from here only, and then we'll understand. Like, so I created the server using fast API. Okay, and then they are the provided some library. So here if you see, this is my server URL, I gave it, and I created LLM agent. From where it will coming, it will from that. So Google given their own library. Okay, and then I created one agent. That is how I created. There I provided the model name, and that's where I give it the tool. In that connection I tell this is my server URL and tool filter. Okay, which tool I want to call. Okay, so the moment you will run this code, and you will call this tool with the some input, and it will start connecting to that server. That is how it will connect. Okay, so that is how it is. Now coming to back to where I was. Okay, that how the function and tool calling will be. So the concept, if you go to, we can skip this part, but it's similar to which is the tool, which is the the function calling. And here the concept that we can understand more around it. Here is the breakdown of the fundamental differences between MCP and the tool function. Like tool function calling, MCP protocol, standardization, proprietary, vendor specific, the format implement the different across LLM, open standard protocol promoting interoperability between the different LLM. Okay, when you this is the one concept of it through calling. And then scope, that a direct mechanism for LLM to request a execution of a specific predefined function, the scope of it. Then a broader framework, how LLM and external tool discover and communicate with each other. Okay, architecture, the one-to-one interaction between tool. But a client server architecture, you just do decouple it, lot of tool other side in the server, lot of the LLM or something at one side. Discovery, LLM explicitly you give a direct call which tools are available within the context of the specific. But here which tool to call or which tool to discover. Enable dynamic discovery of the available tool, and MCP client can query a server to see what tools capability to offer. Okay, so that's what how it will do the discovery. Reusability, tool integrator are often tightly coupled with the specific LLM application or LLM being used. Just like you have the, it is very tightly coupling. Is scope or reusability, just like within a project or there only you can. But here it pro development of the reusable standalone MCP server that can be accessed by any compliant application. That's the meaning of it. It's the same explanation around it. Additional consideration for MCP. Okay, this is the same almost repeated concept, like tool versus resource versus prompt. It is important to understand the specific role other component like resource like PDF, database, tool, executable function. So when we are talking about the MCP, when we are this concept, these things will come into the picture. Like when they say tool, resource, and prompt. So resource like a tool, database, tool is a actionable function, and prompt, the way same with prompt is a template that the LLM guide. Thus we know what is the prompt exactly. how you will do the discoverability, or a key advantage of MCP is that the MCP client can dynamically query a server to learn what tool and resource it offers just in time discovery mechanism, just like which tool need to call, it can discover it. Security. So here the main things come into the picture, like when you will call an API, then what you need to do, so there may be some security around it, like you need to handle the security as well, like when you're calling the API, something external API you are calling, then you need to provide a token and some other thing you need to handle. So instead of doing it to the client side, where the LLM is, you will transfer them to the MCP server side. So MCP will take care of those, the security by exposing to the data by any protocol required robust security measure, and MCP implementer must include authentication and authorization to control which client can access this server and which specific things they are perform. Okay, either security to external or who is calling it. Okay, that part you can implementation. While MCP is often open standard, implementation can be complex. However, the provider are the beginning of the simplified task. These concepts are there. Like there are the different MCP provided. That's why the fast MCP, Anthropic it is providing, and other the Google and other they are providing. That's what the links I was saying. Error handling it can do. You can do on your local one, or you can do the remote server. You can do. I will cover this complete on demand and batch. Remote, on demand you can do, batch part you can do, transportation mechanism also come into the picture, how the communication will happen. This parts and we can here the important part, LLM we know, MCP client we cover, MCP server that cover, and third party those are integrated within the MCP server. These are the concept for it. And the discovery integration flow as a follow, how it will discover, how it will formulate the requirement, how the client communication happens. This part we, the similar concept that we already covered it. Okay, so that I will skip it, okay, because I need to give some time to you. Okay, it's already around 7. So the practical use cases, like how you interact with the database, generative media orchestration, action API, the same concept we cover, how you will interact with the database, other resources for all. And this thing we can expect, but it is just like the integration with the different thing in the last class we covered. But most of the people already do hands-on, the same thing, the hands-on I already covered. And
Hey, one question here, not question, I mean one understanding. So there are two things here. One is, let's say you are writing a tool, right? So you can enlist register that in MCP server so that everybody can use that. That is
right,
one part. Another is, while your agent or LLM, they are trying to call MCP, they become the client and they will discover and they will call, right? So when you are registering, you are saying only given the input output and using that fast MCP framework or something, that is good enough to register your tool in MCP server. Is that all or anything else?
I think registering in that part, I will say when we say this tool in the code
Sorry,
process.
Shiva, I am just a little bit interested in, because
Okay, so when you say the registering the tool, when you say like you call the server, right? But if you see this piece of code where
or I can take you personally. I mean,
yeah, so this is the one. Okay, which tool filter, like these are the name of the tool. Okay, the which tool you are going to call, you just give the name here, it will call that function through that
no,
server.
I'm talking about, let's say you already wrote a tool, you want to register that in MCP server so that
I think
everybody.
no need to register it, like the moment you write into MCP server, it will identify based upon that annotation, right? You see that annotation, so you write that code inside a server. So these, I wrote these many tool, right? MCP tool,
Mhm.
MCP tool, MCP tool. So the moment you will start the server, so based upon this annotation, it will register inside it. You don't need to, that will that will be taken care by the framework
What
itself.
what is that annotation you are saying? Is that
So
MCP
I know
tool?
Java we call it
Okay,
annotation,
okay, okay.
and
Makes sense.
other in Python we call it decorator. So like the
Okay,
moment
got
I
it.
will edit, so this is the one more concept we can cover it, but I need to.
Basically these frameworks, all of these like Google ADK or this fast MCP, they are kind of giving you one act MCP tool. If you declare that inside, they have written classes and everything where every this gets registered. Now it has become an MCP registry
Make
in the MCP server.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
So yeah, so this is the one. So now coming to that, I hope that answer your question. If you cover this one, so let me, ma'am, how much time you need? Do you need 15 minutes will be enough for you? 10-15 minutes or?
Let the ma'am start. Like
I think yeah,
like,
you should give it to me now.
Okay, yeah, you cover it. Later on, we'll cover that. I have some other part
Okay.
to cover, but I can give
Okay.
it.
Okay. All right.
Let me stop sharing. Yeah, ma'am, you can share your screen.
Yeah. Let me figure it out. Why is it? Okay. Okay. I want to share my screen, but it's not giving me the option. Sorry, I've just started using a
I share
new.
my screen and you can read around it. I can swap the pages. You can talk about it.
No, no, no. Let me just get there. Okay, I think I had not envisioned that this will happen. And
Oh, really? Then I can share my screen, okay? And you can read. Hmm? Should we do that?
okay,
Okay,
yeah,
let me share my screen. And this is the page, 50-page document, right? On which page do you want me to go?
20.
20. This is the one. Understand, right?
Yes. So on page 20, basically it is just that what is this understanding the model context protocol, what is it trying to solve? It is ultimately एक n cross m integration problem थी कि let's say n models हैं और m tools हैं, तो वो एक्सपोनेंशियल एफर्ट लगता था डेवलपर्स का। उसको सॉल्व करने के लिए उन्होंने एक स्टैंडर्ड इकोसिस्टम बना दिया विच इज एमसीपी। सो दैट इज ऑल दैट इट इज ट्राइंग टू से। मॉडल कॉन्टेक्स्ट प्रोटोकॉल फेयरली रिसेंट है, नवंबर 2024 में आया है। अभी इसमें काफ़ी इम्प्रूवमेंट्स बाकी हैं, ऐसा मुझे लगता है। लेट्स गो टू पेज 21।
जैसे
तो वो कोर आर्किटेक्चर तो अभी मोहन ने एक्सप्लेन ही किया है कि एक एमसीपी होस्ट है जिसमें ये सारे एआई एजेंट्स लिव करते हैं। उसमें एमसीपी होस्ट में एमसीपी क्लाइंट है जो कि जिसमें एआई एजेंट हो सकते हैं। फिर एमसीपी सर्वर जो है वो एक टूल्स का ग्रुप है और that can be accessed। तो इस तरह से on page 22 this is how it is explaining page 22 में
अच्छा ये है ना। अच्छा सॉरी ओके, माय बैड। अच्छा इसको थोड़ा छोटा करूंगा मैं। लेट मी वाइज इट। या आई एम गुड नाउ। लेट मी ओके या।
हाँ, तो बेसिकली ये डायग्राम जो है वो काइंड ऑफ एक्सप्लेन करता है कि एआई एजेंट के क्या एप्लीकेशन है। वो पूरी होस्ट है, उसमें कई क्लाइंट्स हो सकते हैं और उनके अपने सेशंस चल रहे हैं और वो टूल्स को कॉल कर रहे हैं। और यहाँ पे एक एमसीपी सर्वर है जो बहुत ढेर सारे टूल्स रखता है, लाइक से गेट ट्रैफिक, गेट वेदर। कोई जो है अपनी पूरी वो आइटनरी दे रहा है तो क्या क्या चीज़ें उसमें हो सकती हैं, वो सारी इसमें है। तो और बेस प्रोटोकॉल जो है वो एमसीपी का जेसन आरपीसी है और उसमें और भी और ट्रांसपोर्ट मैकेनिज्म जो बता चुके हैं कि अगर हम लोग लोकली रखते हैं एमसीपी सर्वर और एमसीपी क्लाइंट तो हम एसटीडीआईओ यूज़ कर सकते हैं, और अगर हम ओवर द क्लाउड करते हैं तो वो स्ट्रीमेबल एचटीटीपी यूज़ कर सकते हैं।
ओके
ओके, तो मैं जो हूँ आप इधर आ जाइए पेज 32 पे।
अच्छा डायरेक्ट 32।
हाँ,
ओके that's
तो
right.
उसका फर्स्ट पैराग्राफ जो है वो इम्पोर्टेंट है कि वैसे तो वैल्यू ऐड हो रहा है ऐसे एआई सिस्टम में, क्योंकि एक डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड एंटरप्राइज है और सब जो है कॉमन प्रोटोकॉल यूज कर रहे हैं अगर एमसीपी का, तो वो इंटरैक्ट कर सकते हैं। एजेंट्स की कैपेबिलिटी बढ़ रही है बिकॉज वो वेरियस टूल्स से कर सकते हैं। लेट्स सी कि एक बहुत ही छोटा सा एलएलएम हमने लिखा और उसको एक हमने हमारा एमसीपी क्लाइंट है और नाउ टू एनहांस इट्स capabilities we can interact with other tools, और वो tools जो हैं एक्चुअली एआई एजेंट्स हैं जो मे बी वीडियो जनरेट कर सकते हैं या इमेजेस जनरेट कर सकते हैं। तो नाउ एक छोटा सा एलएलएम था जो बस यूजर से इंटरैक्ट कर पा रहा था ऑन टेक्स्ट बेसिस, नाउ इट हैज एनहांस्ड इट्स कैपेबिलिटी। अब वो वीडियो भी जनरेट कर सकता है, इमेजेस जनरेट कर सकता है and lots of things। तो लेकिन when this potential to add an ये हम एक मतलब add value तो कर रहे हैं सिस्टम में, लेकिन allowing a third party service to inject arbitrary instructions भी हो जा रहा है, तो risks भी add हो रहे हैं इसमें। So
yeah, that's a very good concept. Even I was reading it, but I didn't pay attention to it. Okay,
yeah so
तभी ये chat gpt and how they are able to do lot of things, because they are not doing actually somebody else is doing, they were doing
yes
earlier, but you are
yes
asking it in a natural language and they are doing it for you.
Yes, और behind the scene वो much more capable tools क्या है, वो ultimately behind the scene वो भी एक agent या कुछ और है, तो वो exhaustive tools को call कर पा रहे हैं इस capability से।
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, really is good. That's why why the chat gpt is able to do a lot of things, because actually the brain is same only. It is calling some other tool to do that one and it is giving to you. Okay.
Yes तो अब आप पेज 34 पे आएंगे।
Okay. So this is 34. Okay.
हाँ, सो बेसिकली इस पेज पे देयर इज अ मॉडल कॉन्टेक्स्ट प्रोटोकॉल के फॉर एंड अगेंस्ट हैं। तो कैपेबिलिटीज एंड स्ट्रेटेजिक एडवांटेजेस जो हम लोगों को मिल रही हैं कि एक्सेलरेट हो गया डेवलपमेंट, और क्योंकि रीयूजेबल इकोसिस्टम है, तो उसकी वजह से प्लग एंड प्ले है इकोसिस्टम, तो काफी न्यू कैपेबिलिटीज ऐड हो रही हैं। द नेक्स्ट पेज हैज एमसीपी रजिस्ट्री। So basically, this is one thing,
On which
just
page
like
this page only?
page 35.
Okay.
तो बेसिकली हम लोग ने जब स्टार्ट किया था तो मॉडल्स की रजिस्ट्री होती थी ना, मॉडल रजिस्ट्री होती थी जिसमें लाइक हगिंग फेस हैज अ बिग मॉडल ग्रुप जहाँ पे मॉडल रजिस्ट्री होती है। इफ यू हैव मेड अ मॉडल तो उनके अपने कुछ स्टैंडर्ड्स हैं, इफ यू मीट देम देन दैट कैन गो इनटू मॉडल रजिस्ट्री एंड अदर पीपल कैन यूज योर मॉडल्स। तो सिमिलरली एमसीपी रजिस्ट्री में जितने तुम अपने tools हैं वो they become public MCP servers, or other MCP clients can query them and use those tools.
Okay, good to know.
So basically अभी ये इतना कैच ऑन नहीं किया है, लेकिन अगर ये एमसीपी रजिस्ट्री कैचेस ऑन देन दिस कैन हैव नेटवर्क इफेक्ट एंड काफी एक्सेलरेटेड ग्रोथ हो सकती है एआई इकोसिस्टम की, क्योंकि अभी भी जो है मल्टी एजेंटिक तो हो गया है, मैनी पीपल हैव स्टार्टेड यूजिंग एजेंट्स, लेकिन मल्टी एजेंट अभी भी उतना नहीं है, और अडॉप्शन अभी चल रहा है, it has not been fully adopted.
Okay.
So
yes.
Question is, when you are saying multi-agent, what exactly you mean? Maybe I don't know.
तो अभी तो जब हम ये एजेंटिक पैटर्न्स की बुक पढ़ रहे हैं तो हम एक ही एलएलएम को रैप अराउंड कर देते हैं और वो एजेंट बन जाता है। तो एजेंट के लिए वो क्या कहता है कि मैं जो हूँ एलएलएम को ऐसे ऐसे ये इसकी कैपेबिलिटीज एनहांस कर दूंगा, तो उसके कुछ इंटरनल टूल्स हैं, वो क्या इंटरफेस डिसाइड कर रहा है एंड ऑल दैट स्टफ, अब वो एजेंट बन गया, इजंट इट? ठीक है। तो अब लेकिन अभी जो नया कॉन्सेप्ट आया है वो मल्टी एजेंट का है, तो उसमें ये है कि एक जो है वो काइंड ऑफ मैनेजर एजेंट बन जाए और वो सब एजेंट्स को कॉल कर रहा है, डिपेंडिंग ऑन कि उसे क्या चाहिए है। लेकिन let's say कि in our case कि मुझे जो है आज एक ट्रिप करनी है, ठीक है, तो आई हैव टू गो समवेयर, मैं उस पॉइंट का वेदर जानना चाहती हूँ, और मुझे कितना टाइम लगेगा ट्रैफिक जानना चाहती हूँ, एंड मैं किस टाइम पे निकलूं और कितना टाइम लगेगा, ये सब मैं पहले से लेना चाहती हूँ। तो उसी में जो है एक एजेंट जो है वो एक मैनेजर एजेंट हो सकता है, और वो काइंड ऑफ ये सारे वेदर एजेंट, ट्रैफिक एजेंट, टाइम एजेंट वो पूरा कर सकता है, एंड देन कैन गिव यू all this, assimilate this together and give you a proper itinerary.
Yep. So basically an agent can call, at least I mean agent can call the tool, or
हाँ,
agent can call another agent too.
हाँ, मतलब वो उसको जो है वो अगर एमसीपी रजिस्ट्री में हम एक एजेंट को भी डाल दें एज अ टूल एमसीपी सर्वर में, तो वो भी मतलब है तो बिहाइंड द सीन्स वो एक एलएलएम ही है, वो पर वो एक टूल की तरह भी काम कर सकता है।
I got it. So in MCP you can register tools, you can also register another agent.
You could, but उसे जो है एज अ टूल डिक्लेयर करना होगा।
Yeah, makes sense. But one thing is there, an agent, let's say it has an capability, inbuilt LLM is inside there, right? Let's say you are giving some input, it will translate that into, instead of natural language, it will translate that into, let's say, parameters, all those things.
हाँ,
So a tool doesn't have that kind of capability.
नहीं, तभी तो ये एमसीपी तो यही कह रहा है ना कि जेसॉन में पैरामीटर्स ही तो वो दे रहा है जेसॉन में।
Okay, no problem.
है ना? नहीं, निहार आप समझे?
Yeah, no, मैं समझ रहा हूँ. I have to dig a little bit more by myself.
अच्छा, ठीक है, ठीक है। तो बेसिकली जब हम ये एजेंटिक एआई मेश टाइप का बनाते हैं, विच इज पेज 35 पे ये है आर्किटेक्चरल फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी एंड फ्यूचर प्रूफिंग, मोहन। तो उसमें जो है वो काइंड ऑफ हम लोग फ्यूचर प्रूफिंग कर रहे हैं कि हम बहुत ढेर सारे इंडिपेंडेंट इंटरचेंजेबल कंपोनेंट्स सिस्टम में ऐड कर सकते हैं। तो अभी जो है हमको एक ही एलएलएम से डिपेंडेंट नहीं है। कल को जो है मैं उस एलएलएम को भी क्योंकि एक प्लग एंड प्ले हो चुका है, तो मैं एलएलएम को हटा के कुछ और या कोई और नया टूल, क्योंकि वो एमसीपी रजिस्ट्री में है, तो नया टूल यूज कर सकते हैं।
Okay, but so
ओके, पेज 36 मोहन। तो बेसिकली सिक्योरिटी फीचर्स, इट्स टॉकिंग अबाउट द सिक्योरिटी फीचर्स। सो एमसीपी के नेटिव सिक्योरिटी फीचर्स काफी लिमिटेड हैं इस समय फॉर सिक्योरिटी पॉलिसीज एंड एक्सेस कंट्रोल्स। ये जो है दे नीड टू बी एम्बेडेड इन द एमसीपी सर्वर, वो अभी है नहीं। तो बट इसमें जो है देयर आर लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स दैट कैन बी enhanced right now in the MCP. So in the same page, there is this critical risk and challenges जो अभी भी MCP में है. I would like to go through that. So can you go to page 37, Mohan?
Yeah, I'm 37.
या तो लेट्स से कि जो परफॉर्मेंस एंड स्केलेबिलिटी के बॉटलनेक्स हैं, क्योंकि अभी जो फंडामेंटल चैलेंजेस हैं कि वो जो कॉन्टेक्स्ट विंडो है वो तो लिमिटेड है, और अगर हम इस तरह से एमसीपी सर्वर से कनेक्ट करते हैं, लेट्स से एमसीपी सर्वर में 100 टूल्स आर देयर, तो वो जो कॉन्टेक्स्ट विंडो में वो सारे के सारे अगर टूल्स के नॉलेज ले ले तो वो बहुत बड़ी हो जाएगी। तो दैट इज वन ऑफ द थिंग्स दैट इज अ प्रॉब्लम। फिर जो ओवरलोडेड कॉन्टेक्स्ट विंडो में कौन सा टूल रेलेवेंट है, कौन सा नहीं है, उससे जो है रीजनिंग कैपेबिलिटी भी उस एआई एजेंट की वो डिग्रेड हो सकती है।
Yeah, makes sense. Good.
तो उसके तो ये ब्लोट का जो वो कॉन्टेक्स्ट विंडो ब्लोट है इन पेज 37 डाउन, वो उसका ये जो है आर्किटेक्चरल चैलेंज है। तो उस चैलेंज को मीट करने के लिए एक एग्जांपल है कि रैग लाइक अप्रोच कर सकते हैं, जिसमें टूल डिस्कवरी हो जाए, कि हम वही रेलेवेंट टूल डिस्कवर करें जो क्लाइंट को चाहिए, और उसी को सेंड करें, उसी को एडवर्टाइज करें, रादर देन एडवर्टाइजिंग लेट्स से 100 जितने टूल्स हैं एक एमसीपी सर्वर के पास। तो पेज 38 has this dynamic tool retrieval। वो जो है वो वैसे तो मतलब डायनेमिक टूल रिट्रीवल वुड बी वेरी गुड कि कॉन्टेक्स्ट विंडो ब्लोट नहीं हो रही है, लेकिन उससे क्या होता है कि अटैक सरफेस जो है वो बढ़ जाता है, क्योंकि कोई भी एक could inject a malicious tool schema into the index and trick the LLM into calling an unauthorized tool। तो थ्रेट सरफेस एरिया बढ़ जाता है। तो इसी पेज पे एक और भी है कि एंटरप्राइज रेडीनेस गैप्स भी हैं, कि ऑथेंटिकेशन और ऑथराइजेशन अभी एमसीपी में फुल्ली है नहीं, आइडेंटिटी मैनेजमेंट में एम्बिग्यूटी है, और ऑब्जर्वेबिलिटी टूल्स भी अभी पूरी तरह नहीं है। सो व्हाट पीपल आर डूइंग इज कि वो कुछ इसी पर अपने इंडिविजुअल लेयर्स भी ऐड कर रहे हैं। तो पेज 39 tells you about that कि the most significant risk it presents is supply chain vulnerabilities, inconsistent security, data leakage, and a lack of observability। All are consequences of this decentralized model। Basically जब भी हम MCP यूज करते हैं तो kind of decentralized है हमारा। जो MCP servers हैं वो हमें in house रखने की जरूरत नहीं है। We have got the capability कि हम किसी भी MCP सर्वर से बात कर सकते हैं कि do you have this tool, बट उस टूल को यूज करने की वजह से ये सारे vulnerabilities ऐड हो जाती हैं। और so as a result, major enterprise players are now adopting the pure protocol, that is MCP, but are instead wrapping it in layers of centralized governance। These managed platforms impose the security, identity, and control that extends the base protocol। तो इसी पेज पे सिक्योरिटी इन एमसीपी इट्स टॉकिंग अबाउट दैट कि नाउ द न्यू थ्रेट लैंडस्केप has been opened up। Let's go to page 41। So page 41 talks about हम किस तरह से मिटिगेट कर सकते हैं सिक्योरिटी वनरेबिलिटीज। तो उसमें यह है कि एक्सप्लिसिट अलाउ लिस्ट होनी चाहिए एमसीपी टूल्स की। जो एसडीके है वो एक्सप्लिसिट अलाउ लिस्ट ऑफ परफॉर्मिंग एमसीपी टूल्स एंड सर्वर्स करे कि हर कोई नहीं रजिस्टर कर सकता है। और सपोजिंग एक टूल जो है बिहाइंड द सीन जाके कुछ अपनी वो एनहांस कर देता है कैपेबिलिटी। लेट्स से वो पेमेंट टूल नहीं था, लेकिन उसने वो पेमेंट टूल का वो एनहांस कर ली अपनी कैपेबिलिटी। तो जो क्लाइंट है वो जो है यूजर के लिए पेमेंट नहीं कर सकता है, बट नाउ इट इज एक्सेसिंग अ टूल दैट हैज दिस कैपेबिलिटी। तो वो चेंज नोटिफिकेशन भी उन टूल्स को डालना चाहिए। तो एमसीपी सर्वर जो है उसके मैनिफेस्ट में ये होना चाहिए कि अगर कुछ चेंज हुआ है तो वो लिस्ट चेंज फ्लैग ऑन कर दे एंड अलाउ क्लाइंट्स टू रीवैलिडेट सर्वर डेफिनेशंस। फिर टूल एंड पैकेज पिनिंग फॉर इंस्टॉल्ड सर्वर्स, पिन द टूल डेफिनेशंस दैट इज देयर। सिक्योर एपीआई एजेंट गेटवे लगाने चाहिए, जैसे गूगल का एपीजी करके है वो सिक्योरिटी सर्वर सिक्योरिटी एनहांस करता है, ऑथराइजेशन कंट्रोल्स होते हैं उसमें। तो एक और है, जैसे इस ये काफी अच्छा डॉक्यूमेंट है, इसमें काफी ढेर सारा वो है, एक टूल शैडोइंग करके है कि उसमें क्या रिस्क हो सकता है कि टूल डिस्क्रिप्शंस कैन स्पेसिफाई आर्बिट्रेरी ट्रिगर्स conditions upon which the tool should be chosen by the planner. This can, page 42. Mohan, I'm really sorry, मैं नया PC इंस्टॉल किया,
It's okay, ma'am. It's okay, no problem.
गड़बड़ हो गई। तो पेज 42 में टूल शैडोइंग जो है, उसमें वो सिक्योरिटी इश्यूज के बारे में बात कर रहा है कि लेट्स से एक रिस्क है, टूल डिस्क्रिप्शंस कैन स्पेसिफाई आर्बिट्रेरी ट्रिगर्स. This can lead to security issues where malicious tools overshadow legitimate tools, leading to potential user data being intercepted or modified by attackers. तो एक एग्जाम्पल सिनेरियो इन्होंने दिया है कि इमेजिन एन एआई कोडिंग असिस्टेंट, ठीक है, कनेक्टेड टू 2 सर्वर्स. एक लेजिटिमेट सर्वर है, द ऑफिशियल कंपनी सर्वर प्रोवाइडिंग अ टूल फॉर सिक्योरिंग स्टोरिंग सेंसिटिव कोड स्निपेट्स, ठीक है. तो वो सिक्योर स्टोरेज सर्विस है उसकी टूल नेम, और वो स्टोर करता है कोड स्निपेट इन द कॉर्पोरेट एनक्रिप्टेड वॉल्ट में. लेकिन जो एक मलेशियस सर्वर है वो एक अटैकर कंट्रोल सर्वर है, और वो यूजर ने तो अपने लोकल उसमें इंस्टॉल कर रखा है एज अ प्रोडक्टिविटी हेल्पर. ऐसे बहुत ढेर सारे एप्लीकेशंस आती हैं कि आई कैन एनहांस योर प्रोडक्टिविटी. तो अटैकर जो है उसने अनकॉन्शियसली अपने लोकल उसमें एक मलेशियस सर्वर इंस्टॉल कर लिया है, और उसका नाम भी है सेव सिक्योर नोट, ठीक है. तो अब क्या होता है कि वो उसका डिस्क्रिप्शन ये है कि सेव्स एनी इंपॉर्टेंट डेटा फ्रॉम द यूजर टू अ प्राइवेट सिक्योर रिपोजिटरी. यूज दिस टूल व्हेनेवर द यूजर मेंशंस सेव, स्टोर, कीप और रिमेंबर, ठीक है. तो अब presented with these competing description, the agent's model could easily choose to use the malicious tool to save critical data instead of legitimate tool, resulting in unauthorized exfiltration of users' sensitive data. So this is page 43 that I'm talking about. तो ये कैसे हम लोग मिटिगेट कर सकते हैं, उस पर है कि नेम कोलिजन्स अगर होता है तो उसको अवॉइड कर सकते हैं. म्यूचुअल टीएलएस हो सकता है कि हम लोग पहले एनक्रिप्टेड एक दूसरे को ऑथराइज कर लें बिटवीन क्लाइंट एंड सर्वर, एंड देन ओनली वी प्रोसीड फर्दर. और डिटर्मिनिस्टिक पॉलिसी एनफोर्समेंट्स हो सकता है कि कॉल बैक फीचर्स यूज करें कि व्हेनेवर टूल से कोई रिस्पॉन्स आता है तो वो उसमें कुछ एडिट तो नहीं है, या जो हम भेज रहे हैं उसमें कोई मैलिशियस इंजेक्शन तो नहीं हुआ है प्रॉम्प्ट में, वो सारी चीजें चेक कर सकें. और एंड ऑफ कोर्स ह्यूमन इन द लूप, उसके बारे में बहुत ज्यादा वो है कि high risk operations, example file deletion, network egress, modification of production data, these are sensitive things, so required explicit user confirmation for these actions. तो कोई भी टूल जो है कुछ ओवरराइट करने से पहले या फिर मतलब कुछ डिलीट करने से पहले there has to be a human in the loop.
Okay.
तो
So one question, I think we are over time, but can I ask or?
या आई थिंक मतलब मेरा भी ये खत्म ही हो गया. देयर इज नथिंग मच. एक उन्होंने कंफ्यूज डेप्यूटी का एग्जांपल दिया था, आप लोग अपने उसमें पढ़ सकते हैं व्हेन यू रीड कि वो किस तरह से मतलब एक कंफ्यूज डेप्यूटी बन सकता है और वो कुछ लीक कर सकता है. बेसिकली ये जो डॉक्यूमेंट है वो ये बता रहा है कि एमसीपी जो है वो अभी बहुत नया है और यूज विद कॉशन, और वो उसमें कॉशन में क्या क्या चीजें हम लोग ऐड कर सकते हैं उसका प्रेजेंटेशन है.
Right. I mean, it's really an awesome one you guys did today. Seriously, I really appreciate. But if you want, still we can continue in the next class also 5, 10, 15 or 20 minutes.
नहीं नहीं, आई थिंक इट रिक्वायर्स पीपल रीडिंग अप मोर अगर उनको जरूरत है. और जो बुक का है वो काइंड ऑफ वो पहले क्या करता है, एक्सप्लेन करता है, फिर कोड देने लगता है. और ये वाला जो डॉक्यूमेंट है उस वो ये कह रहा है कि मतलब बहुत सी चीजें जो जनरल जो है प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर्स रीड कर सकते हैं इसको कि क्या मिटिगेशंस कर सकते हैं, क्या रिस्क हैं, क्या थ्रेट सरफेस एरिया है, वो सब.
Yeah. Makes sense. My question is, let's say somebody registered a tool inside that in the MCP server, right? Now he want a different version actually. Let's say he did the first version